ABC, this is Dave here. Hope everybody's doing well today. We're doing album titles that start with the letter R. And I had a lot of albums that I could have shown, but decided not to show them, although they're really good albums. They're also favorite albums of mine. I always have a hard time, saying quote unquote favorite albums. Because, it's like, what are your top 10 desert island picks or something like that? I have maybe 10 albums today, 10 albums tomorrow. It always just seems that, if you mention something, you're overlooking something else. So, I could have mentioned Revolver by the Beatles. I could have mentioned Rubber Soul by the Beatles, or Paul McCartney's Ram. All good albums, and I have them, but I just didn't. I decided not to pull them. I just, pick something a little bit more random, and these are all, good albums. Like I said, I could have pulled some other ones that went with it. I could have pulled some. I had quite a few runners up. There was there was a Dave Bromberg album that I had, Reckless Abandon, that started to show. And, but, of Dave Bromberg, that's not really my favorite album by him. That would be Midnight on the Water, which I should have shown under the M's, but, you do stuff like this and you forget about titles and you forget about this and that. So anyway, I'll show these. This is Mobius and Planck's Kraut Pasta, which is all electronic album, German import on Sky Records. And yeah, if you're into electronic music, it's a really good album. Like I said, it's, I don't know that it falls under the krautrock banner, but it's more electronic, I'll put it that way. This is Terry Riley's A Rainbow in Curved Air. Again, with this album, it's not really electronic, although, excuse me, it could be, maybe kind of sounds like it a little bit. Real repetitive, like Steve Reich or Philip Glass in the way that he composes his music. Yeah, he plays keyboards. And I don't know if this is my favorite album by him, but it's just, if you don't know about him, this is a pretty good album to maybe pick up. I mean, he's got a lot of good albums that I like. So yeah, Terry Riley. It's not. I really wouldn't say it's rock either, but then it's not classical and it's certainly not jazz. But it's kind of ambient a little bit, or new age. I think they started way back when in the 80s, they didn't know where to put him, and so they would put him sometimes in classical, sometimes in new age or something like that. But yeah, Terry Riley. This is Steve Hillage, Rainbow Dome Music. He was a guitarist that played with gong. And this is kind of a new age type album, or an ambient album. This is my favorite one by him. And it has one long song on one side and one long song on the other. And like I said, he started out playing with gong, so some of his albums are kind of, more rock oriented. Another one by him that I like is that A Fish Rising, which is more kind of like gong with a little bit of Canterbury influence. But that would be my second favorite. I think this is my first favorite by him. Steve Hillage. Rainbow Dome music. Tangerine Dream, Rubicon. This is the album that came directly after Phaedra, and was the album I bought after Phaedra, because I started buying them more or less in order, and then I started going back and, you know, became a fan, and then I started going back and buying some of their older albums. But this is just as good as Phaedra, and it's electronic. I think this is what many consider their classic lineup. Yeah, Christopher Frankie's on here, Peter Baumann, and Edgar, I always have a hard time with his last name, Froese or something like that. Edgar Froese, the more or less the member, or the member that put the band together. But yeah, Tangerine Dream, Rubicon. This may be my favorite Tom Waits album, although I do like several of his other albums. I have many by him. This is Raindogs. It has Keith Richards plays guitar on some of the songs on here. There's some kind of spoken word pieces that are really pretty cool that he does on here. I like this, and a Swordfish trombone, and Nighthawks at the Diner, which is a live set. It's a really neat album. But yeah, there are a lot of cool Tom Waits albums, and I just like the way this album sounds in general. It's kind of dark in themes, and yeah, kind of beat poetry a little bit too, that type thing. This is Steve Miller's let's see, Recall the Beginning, A Journey from Eden. And this is one of his more subdued albums, sort of in his middle period, actually before he got so radio friendly. And you know, I kind of like it for that reason, but I also like it because it's not quite as rock and roll oriented. And you know, there's a little bit of blues on here, and a little bit of R&B or whatever, a little bit of rock too, but just on a more subdued sound for him. But yeah, it's one of the Steve Miller albums I can still listen to today. This is Johnny Rivers' Realization. Probably came out in '68 or something like that. He does a few covers on it, like there's a Bob Dylan song on here, Positively 4th Street. I really like his Going Back to Big Sur. He does a version of Hey Joe on here, which a lot of people did back then, and the song Whiter Shade of Pale by Procol Harum is on here, and Summer Rain. But yeah, it's a pretty nice Johnny Rivers album, Realization. This may be my favorite Steely Dan album. It's a little bit more rockin', but there's still jazzy influences in it. This is The Royal Scam, and title cut on it is The Royal Scam, but yeah, kind of real upbeat album by them. Of course, they've got good session musicians on here as well. Larry Carlton plays on it. Walter Becker is on here. You know, a lot of people like that. Yeah, The Royal Scam by Steely Dan. And this is next to the last one that I pulled, James Gang Rides Again. Of course, this is Joe Wash's first band. And it's really a really good album. This is the inside gatefold, kind of watercolorish. But I really like the way the first side ends, which is, it ends with Cast Your Fate to the Wind, which is by Vince Guaraldi, the jazz. I believe he's a pianist. This is a album by him I picked up, which is kind of a greatest hits. He's more noted for, say, this album here, which is the music he did for the Peanuts special. But yeah, the way they end that first side with his song is really pretty neat. And you know, of course, it's a real rock-oriented album, but you know, James Gang Rides Again. And the last one I'll show is this one here. This is Marshall Tucker Band. Let's see here. Running Like the Wind, which used to be on the radio for a while there, FM radio. It's also got Melody Ann, which I think used to be on the radio, and last of the Singing Cowboys, they used to play occasionally. But got to see Marshall Tucker play right before I left Midland. And they were playing with Leon Russell in an outdoor concert, and was really happy to see him. You know, you see something outdoors like that, it always lifts your spirits. But they were real interesting to see, and you know, they were on fire that night. They played really well. There's also some flute on here. Yeah, one of their better albums. You know, sort of country rock oriented, jazzy, with some jazz influences. So there you have it. There's 10 albums. I believe I showed 10 that all start with the letter R. And hope everybody's doing well. We'll talk to you later.